Matteo's Math. Today I'm very happy to teach you about Euler's method. First, let me start off with a fantastic story. I always start off my videos with stories because it helps you get the concept better. Plus, we have fun. Our family had a sixth baby, and it was a cute baby sister. I went to go visit her at the hospital when she was born and found out that she was 8.3 pounds. What a big girl! So I wanted to figure out how heavy would she be when she was 1 year old. I started thinking and estimating, but I couldn't predict. So I got out my growth chart. If I just had my y for this curve, I can just plug in her values and I can find out how heavy she is. So I started thinking, where's my y? But there is no y. This is when Euler's method comes in. In Euler's method, you only need a y prime, a delta x, the x that you are trying to find the y of, and your initial value y of 0. So I started looking at my growth chart, and the look of it looked like y prime is equal to x to the 1/4. So we write down, so our y prime equals x to the 1/4, as we said. And our initial value y of 0, in this case, is what? Well, she was born at 8.3 pounds. So this is 8.3 pounds. Now, what is the value of x that we're trying to find y of? Well, it is 12 months. And then our delta x, let's say we're checking her every 2 months. So delta x equals 2 months. So now we make this table. So our n is just the times that we're checking on her. So first, we haven't checked on her. So it's at 0. Then it's at 1, 2, and 3, and so on until it's 6. Then our x is just how old she is in months. So first, she's 0 months because she's first born. And then she's 2 months, then 4 months, then 6 months, and finally 12 months. So then, in order to find our y, we have our y 0, right? It's given right here as 8.3 pounds. So we can fill that number in. But how do we find the other y values? Well, I've got just the answer. So our step 1, we just write down the formula. Then our step 2 is to find y prime of y of n. So y prime of y of 0, it is right now, based on this formula, y of n plus 1 equals y of n plus delta x times y prime of y of n. In this case, we're trying to find y of 0 plus 1, so y of n is y of 0. And this is 8.3 pounds. So we write down here y prime is x to the 1/4, and our x is going to be y of n. So y of 0 is 8.3. We already know that because it's given. So y prime of y of 0 equals 8.3 to the 1/4, which then is approximately 1.697. Now we've got that value, but what do we do to find our y of n plus 1? Well, we plug in to get the new y of n. Again, this y of n is y of 0. So y of 1 equals y of 0. It's given as 8.3 plus our delta x. How often are we checking her? Every 2 months. So it's plus 2 times y prime of y of n. Didn't we just calculate that? 1.697. And then this is approximate value of 11.69. Now we can fill that out on our chart. Now we need to find our y of 2. So our y prime of y of what? Y of 1, since we're trying to find y of 2, according to the formula. And then it's no longer 8.3 to the 1/4. So this is no longer true. It's 11.69 to the 1/4. And then this is an approximate value of 1.85. Now, our y of 2. Y of 2 equals, our y of n is always 11.69. 11.69 plus 2, which is our delta x, times y prime of y of n. Right, it's this value, 1.85. Then this is an approximate value of 15.39. Now we have our y of 2, and we can fill that in. Okay, now I'm going to show you one more example of how to find your y of n. Y of 3. So, find y prime of y of n, or y prime of y of 2. And then this is no longer 11.69 to the 1/4. It is 15.39 to the 1/4, which is approximate value of 1.98. Now we plug into the new y of n to get the new y of n. So y of 3 equals, our y of n this time is 15.39. Plus 2 times, what was our y prime of y of n? 1.98. And this is an approximate value of 19.35. Now, if you keep on calculating, you will eventually get 32.55. You will eventually get that value, which is about what I weighed when I was around 1 year old. Now it's your turn to practice on how to solve Euler's method. Okay, so here is our example. I wrote it out right here. I wrote down the steps. You fill out the table. This only has 5 values for you to evaluate. Well, 4 y values for you to evaluate. One of them is given. And you notice that I just changed around the numbers. And the steps are still the same. Now you can pause the video and work this out on your own to have a chance to practice. And I will walk through the solution with you. So back onto our solution. As you see, I filled out the table with all of these y values and the x and the n values. Right here, I filled out, this is what I used to come up with each one of these values down here, and the y of 0 was already given. I plugged in each of these to find y prime of y0, y prime of y1, and so on until y prime of y3. Because I don't use my y prime of y4, otherwise I'm finding y of 5. Therefore, I found all of these values by plugging in my y of n, meaning the previous y of something, And then I also plugged in my y prime of y of n, which I solved up here for all of them. And I ended up with y equaling 1.5, 2.07, 2.71, and 3.41. And that 3.41 is a solution that we were looking for y of 2. So remember that we went over Euler's method today, and I broke it down into just 3 simple steps. And we went over one example together, and you had some practice on your own. If you have any comments or questions, please leave a comment. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe.